Welcome to Madoka Magicast. It is a podcast devoted to the dark magical girl series Puella Magi Madoka Magica. I am your host Amanda, and I know everyone was expecting my co-hosts Yasha and Vanna on this episode so that we could answer questions and talk about the first two Madoka movies, but life has kind of been kicking them in the face this entire summer, basically. I don't know how much, they've probably already told their Discord, like, of everything that's been going on with them. Just a lot of, like, car accidents and work being awful. So we were actually scheduled to record that episode where we answer questions, and then that day, during the day, Vanna messaged me like, listen, I don't think I should do this today. I'm like, I need to take a break. And I was like, that's totally fine. So, unfortunately, everyone, that is not the episode that we have today. But instead, we have something very exciting. So,
I don't know about exciting. I was about to say, unfortunately, you get me, a stranger.
A stranger. So, this is, as you might know, as you can probably see from the title of this episode, whatever that title will eventually be, this is our first episode about Magia Record, the cell phone game. It's a gacha. It's being turned into an anime. It's this winter, isn't it?
I think so. It must be this winter because they haven't updated any, like, date projections, and that's really the only season left it could come out in.
Yeah. I think it's coming out this winter.
Yeah, winter, fall, whatever it is that they delineate the lines of that.
Yeah, and since Yasha and Vanna are not playing the game, it would be a little bit weird for them to be on the episodes talking about a game that they're not playing. So instead, we have a new co-host on the show, hopefully, if everything works out. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you for having me for this first, I suppose, a trial run. I'll be on my best behavior for this.
Yes, this is Eryn Cerise. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, this is our new co-host, Eryn Cerise.
Hi.
Hi. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
She sent us an email asking to be a guest on the show. And after I read her email, I was like, maybe this person might be interested in covering Magia Record with me. So that's what we're gonna try to do here today. Although, obviously, we're not going to cover everything in the game in, like, this one episode.
No, I don't think we could.
No, there's quite a few. How many story chapters overall does it have, do you know?
There are currently 5 released on the North American server, and they're up to 10 on the Japanese server. And they're all split into multiple sections. Yeah. And that's not even counting all the other stories. We'll get to that.
All the other side stories and events and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The whole labyrinth story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, there's lots to talk about. Even if we split this up into, like, 1 episode per chapter, I'm sure there's lots more around the periphery that we'll be able to talk about each time.
Yeah. So, Eryn, why don't you tell us about yourself? Because you do quite a lot online.
Sure. I'll stick to mainly the magical girl related stuff that I do, since that's the most relevant. And I do magical girl stuff. I am a YouTuber first and foremost at the moment. My channel is obviously named Eryn Cerise. And my major project at the moment is a series called Maho Profile, A History of Magical Girls, which is aimed at chronicling the entire magical girl genre from the beginning in chronological order, show by show.
That is awesome.
It's very slow going, but
I have that playlist saved on my YouTube. And one of these days, when I need something that's 5 hours long to watch or listen to while I'm cleaning or something, that is going on because that sounds fascinating. And I'm so glad that we have someone who's basically an expert, if I can call you
sort
that.
of, at least on 70s magical girls at this point. Jeez.
Oh, okay, good. 70s. Wow, that goes way back.
Yeah, like the whole genre goes all the way back to 1966, and then there's like ancestor stuff you can look at before that even.
Right.
But yes, it's very slow going making these episodes just because there's so much history to talk about with each show. So thankfully you'll never be too far behind, even if you're starting afresh now.
That's okay. I'm in it for the long haul here. I would love to just watch it to the end, even if it takes forever. I certainly cannot complain as someone who also takes forever to finish their own projects. So please take your time.
Oh yes, there's only so much we can do in a day, especially when we're working full time and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't you tell us about your personal history with magical girls?
Okay. Well, like many people of my age, I got started with Sailor Moon in the 90s.
Yes!
I'm a Canadian. I think I actually live in the same neck of the woods as Yasha and Vanna, so I watched it on YTV growing up.
Right.
And that was my big thing for several years. And
yeah, me too.
Yes. And eventually led me into the wider anime fandom. I didn't focus so much on magical girls specifically for a while. In fact, I went through a period where I was the rebellious teen trying to be like, oh, I'm too cool for that stuff I used to like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But then I got back into it and tried not to tell anyone, because...
Isn't that the siren song of becoming an adult?
Mm-hmm.
You just admitting to yourself that you're the same person you were when you were 12 and just not caring anymore.
Just in a bigger body.
Yeah.
Yep. But I did watch a few other things as I grew up and became a more well-rounded anime fan. I have very good memories of going to like my local anime club and watching subs of Cardcaptor Sakura in like 2002.
Ooh.
So that was fun.
Didn't that always make you feel like so cool?
Yeah. Like I think I saw
I've
Tokyo Mew Mew before it
subtitles.
premiered on English TV that way as well.
Oh, that's cool. That's what I did with Trigun.
Oh my god.
Like, eventually they put Trigun on Adult Swim, I think.
Yeah.
But I had already seen the entire thing because I had all the VHS tapes.
You always feel like you're like the cool kid who liked things before they were cool.
Yeah, or like I had we had internet in my house when I was a kid, so of course I looked up everything I could possibly find about Sailor Moon.
Same.
And then I was the kid at school who knew all the Sailor Moon spoilers.
Yeah, and would tell everybody about the Sailor Starlights and all of that.
Yeah. Exactly. I remember telling a friend of mine that Chibiusa was the future daughter of Sailor Moon Tuxedo Mask, and I still remember the look on her face, like her jaw dropped.
No way.
Not that it's that terribly difficult to predict
Yeah.
now as an adult, but back then it was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, like, as a young enough kid, it was a surprise enough to find out that Usagi was Princess Serenity. Spoilers.
It really was. It honestly really was. For little kids, that's really not... Everyone jokes at how that's how obvious that is, but little kids kind of get caught off guard by that, yeah.
No, I have specific memories of, like, a specific friend I was watching the show with at a very young age, and they came up to me very excited one day, like, did you see that Serena is the Moon Princess? Oh my god!
Ah! It's like, actually, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Could have seen that coming. In hindsight.
So how did you first come across Madoka then?
Madoka, I think I just came across as part of the general anime news cycle at the time it was coming out, because at that time I had started like paying more attention to like the industry, and I think more specifically I was paying attention to Anime News Network a lot at the time.
Right.
So I heard about them talk about it during their episode preview guides and on the ANN cast at the time. So I was curious about it, obviously, and especially got more curious once people started talking about, like, oh god, this is a thing, maybe.
Yeah, like you gotta watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. Like, I can't tell you why, but you have to just sit down and watch it. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't really remember exactly when I finally got to it, but it wasn't that long after it ended, I think.
Right.
And obviously was enamored.
Yes.
Although for whatever reason, I didn't put it on my list of all-time favorites for the longest time, mainly because I was very attached to other series in the meanwhile.
Right.
But I did have a strong reaction to it at the time, and it's really only gotten stronger as time has gone on, and I've been able to rewatch it both as the TV series and as the recap movies. Most recently, I rewatched it while listening to Madoka Magicast.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And had the strongest reaction to the series I've ever had, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry if we made you cry.
No, it was a good cry. It's always a good cry.
Okay, good. I cry every single time I watch it. When I was a kid, I used to cry at every single season finale of Sailor Moon. Now, as an adult, I'm kind of a little bit more like, I remember this. Like, it's not quite as traumatizing to me now as it was when I was 12. But Madoka still makes me cry every time I watch it. I've watched through it at least, I don't even know at this point, 7 or 8 times probably, because I watched through it with other people, too. So the number of times I've seen it at this point, I can't even tell you. And I just cry every single time I watch it. Yeah.
I think Utena is another big one of those for me. That's been my number one anything of anything forever, more or less.
Yeah, and you mentioned actually in your email, and we have to feed Oscar.
Yes, we do.
So we'll just talk about this. You mentioned in your email that you do consider Utena to be a magical girl show.
Yes, just barely, but I think it counts because the magical girl genre is so broad and so squishy that you can justify a lot of things.
Yeah, it is much broader than I think some people give it credit for. It's not just the Sailor Moon formula knockoff.
Oh, absolutely not. It's virtually any series where a female protagonist has magic powers and those magic powers are significant to the story.
Yeah. And also sometimes people say, well, who is the magical girl in Utena? And I just say, like, well, Anthe, I guess.
Yeah, Anthe. Well, and also technically Utena, she does have, like, the sword comes.
Yeah.
Like, she gets the sword, she gets the transformation, even if it's just, like, a couple fancy things on her outfit. It still technically counts.
Yeah, I think it counts, personally.
But yeah. Anthe at the very least, for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, cool. So what I'm trying to think of our standard first time people on the show questions. Who is your favorite magical girl from, like, the original series?
Oh, from the original series, I think it would be Madoka. I've always been, like, a main pink magical girl type, I think.
Yeah. The older I get, the more I like the pink one.
Yeah, just because the older and more fearful of life I become, the more bolstered by the hope that the pink represents, I think I get.
Yeah. I totally know what you mean by that. That's also part of why I don't like Rebellion, because it makes me sad.
Aww. I have not rewatched Rebellion recently. I have seen it, but it's been a while. I haven't seen it since theaters.
Huh. Oh, you saw it in theaters?
Yeah.
Wow. How did you manage that?
Well, it did have, like, some special, like, Funimation-sponsored screenings around the time, I think.
Oh, okay. Darn. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
movie.
It was very
Even though
rare,
I don't like it, I would love to see it in theaters, on a huge screen.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
That's pretty cool. Well, then when we eventually cover Rebellion, we'll have to get your take on some of it.
Well, we'll see. I'll certainly have to rewatch it sometime soon. Anyway.
Yeah. How do you take the ending of the original anime? Did you see that as, like, a ambiguous ending or, like, a sad ending, or?
Oh, of the TV series ending?
Yeah.
I think it's definitely bittersweet as you guys have described it, but it's ultimately hopeful, I feel like, just because it ultimately advocates for things should be better for magical girls, damn it, and now they finally are, even if it's only a little bit.
Yeah, and even if Homer is kind of not super 100% satisfied with how everything is, she does seem to appreciate that things are better now.
Yeah, but I think there is some ambiguity to it, just because I think there are some problematic aspects to valorizing that level of self-sacrifice in women and girls. So I think that's where Rebellion could be interesting without spoiling anything specific.
Yeah.
Like, I viscerally did not like the ending of Rebellion when I first saw it in theaters, but thinking about it in hindsight, I can see where its analytical value at least might be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as you. Like, I had a strong negative reaction to it as soon as I was done watching it. And we'll talk about this when we get to Rebellion, but part of my problem with Rebellion isn't even just the ending. I just don't think it's a very good movie. Like, I remember sitting there watching it like, this is moving way too fast. I mean, I guess this is cool. What's with all the fan service? Okay, whatever. Let's just see how this ends. And then it got to the ending. And then I was like, fuck this movie.
Yeah, like, it plays out like basically just a pretty light show for the longest time. And then there's like a very, like, brief, like, Nirvana period where it's like, oh my god, it might actually be justifying all of this. Oh, this might be the ending that I didn't know I needed. And then, like, in the last 15 minutes, like...
It's like ridiculous. Yeah. It's just Anyway, we don't need to get into rebellion discourse.
Yes, no, we won't go into
Yeah.
that right now. That's not the time for this.
Instead, let's talk about the exploitative magical girl gacha
Yeah.
that has recently been released in English.
Yep.
To my shock, I never thought we would ever be getting this game in English.
Yeah, honestly not. Like, I know
Yeah.
Madoka is a popular anime, but I didn't think it was popular enough to sustain its own dedicated gacha server.
Yeah, at least in English.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like maybe it's, I guess it's been doing okay in Japan because it's been going for all this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned on the show before that I went to Japan in November 2017, and Magia Record stuff was everywhere.
I'd believe it.
I must have been around the time that it was released, but there were posters and ads and just, it was just crazy. I remember thinking, like, what the heck is this? Because I know it's not an anime, because I would have heard about it. And then I found out it was the cell phone game. At least it's not a pachinko game.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. Could be so much worse.
Yes. So, Magia Record is a gacha. Would you like to explain to our audience what a gacha is?
Sure.
All right.
So, a gacha is a cartoon casino that tries to pretend it isn't, but it definitely is. They come in many different flavors. This one in particular masquerades as a battle/story game, but there's other types. You can have like your puzzle games, you can have your rhythm games. One of the other major gachas I'm into specifically is Love Live School Idol Festival. That's another type of content I put on my YouTube channel. And that one's a rhythm game, but they all share a system where you can spend premium in-game currency to get random characters that you can play with in the game. And wouldn't you know it, you can get a lot of this currency for free in-game, but you can get even more if you spend real money.
And I have to admit, I spent about, I don't even want to admit how much I spent. I spent a lot today to get the Iroha birthday thing.
Yeah.
Because I looked up what was in that, and it was like a ton of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah, and I felt like I could justify it to myself a little because I've seen some of the first month, like, revenue numbers compared to other anime mobile games, and Magia Record is not that high compared to a lot of them, so I felt like,
oh no,
okay, maybe I'll justify trying to support the servers a little bit.
Yeah, please don't shut down the servers.
Yeah.
That'll be terrible. There was a Steven Universe gacha, like, last year.
Oh no.
That I was also very into. It was a clicker game.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
A clicker battle where you just tap the screen to fight.
Mm-hmm.
But you would open cases to get new characters.
Yeah.
You could level them up.
It's part of that whole loot box discourse that you hear about in other video games as well.
Exactly. Yeah, but the game didn't do well, so they eventually, like, abandoned it. And then, like, we had no word on what was going on with the game for, like, 6 months. And then finally they took it off the App Store just a little while ago. So I'm like, don't do that, please. I already went through that once. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, like, always the, like, lurking fear of a gacha is that even if you do spend real money, you're not really buying anything. You just have the license to view certain images on your device. And if the game ever stops service, you don't get to keep those.
I got a temporary JPEG in an app.
It's kind of fascinating that, like, the way that a gacha feels, it still feels like you have something, even though you know you could just go look up the images online elsewhere. So it still feels worth it, even though you know it isn't. I feel like the psychological effect is itself kind of what you're buying.
Yeah, it's that dopamine squirt that you get when you get, like, you get something you want.
Yep.
It's giving you, it's firing off that reward center in your brain.
Yep.
So your brain doesn't really care that you didn't actually get anything, I think.
It's insidious and it's terrible, and I am extremely susceptible to it.
So am I.
But I still have fun with it anyway. I think I just try to make sure to preach, if you do spend real money in games like this, don't spend outside your means. I have done that before. It sucks. Don't do it.
Yeah, I've done that before too. Like, not in gacha specifically, but, like, I remember when I was in college, I used to make some pretty heckin' stupid purchases, for example.
Back when I thought, there's no way that my credit card will actually have to be paid back someday.
Yeah. So I'm happy to announce that at 32 years old, I no longer have those kind of problems. But yeah, if you're also, I do appreciate too that the game actually says, like, if you're under 14, don't play this game.
Yeah, games like this always have to have like a disclaimer up front. Yeah,
well, like, but I don't know if necessarily they do they?
Most of them do at this point. Like, at the very least, I think, I haven't verified this, so take this with a grain of salt, but I think there are certain regulations on what games have to disclose in terms of, like, what what the rates are and, like, warnings that you have to put and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I just feel like I've never seen it, like, you must tap that warning screen in order to get into the game every time you open the game, you know?
It's true. That is a difference, because I can think that Love Live has a screen like that, but it will go away eventually if you don't tap on it.
Yeah. And because my nephew, on my husband's side, he used to be obsessed with the Plants vs. Zombies mobile game, which is basically a gacha, like premium currency, trying to get you to buy more of it.
Right.
You know, artificial difficulty that you have to grind to get through for free, so it gives you this psychological incentive.
Yeah, like Fortnite is basically that, and that's the big thing with kids these days, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I do appreciate that this game is like, listen, if you're under 14, just don't even play the game.
Right.
Like, just don't, yeah. So, good on you, Aniplex, or whoever it was responsible for this game.
Yeah.
So, the game... So, Magia Record is split between... There's basically 3 main gameplay aspects in Magia Record.
Yes.
There are the visual novel story stuff. So, then there is the turn-based battle system. So, there's battle stages.
Yep.
And then the third gameplay element is the gacha pull.
Yes. Which more or less deserves to be its own gameplay element.
Yeah, I guess you could also maybe count number 4 being, like, upgrading the girls.
Yeah, resource management, and, like, that kind of thing.
Resource management, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you like that kind of stuff, and you're not worried about gambling addiction, maybe check out the game.
Yeah, no, because, like, honestly, even though it is an insidious gacha, I do also enjoy, like, the other modes. It does seem to have a much better story than most gacha games that I've played, and the battle stages are relatively simple compared to similar turn-based battle systems, but they're still engaging, I feel like.
I really love... So, yeah, let's talk about the battle system, because I actually really like the battle system. And I'm not sure people are necessarily giving it credit for as good as it is.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, the way it works is... So, every round you can do 3 attacks amongst your team. And then it goes to the opposite team and they can do 3 attacks. So you might have a team of, like, 5 girls. You can, of course, move girls in and out of your team, since there's, like, 100 magical girls in this game.
It's all about customization.
Yeah. And they each have what's called discs. So each girl has 5 discs that could come up randomly. It's almost like a card game. They just don't call them cards.
Yeah, it's in fact, a lot of fans, I've heard them call, like, a girl's set of discs her deck.
Yeah. Oh, so there you go. Yeah, so for example, what's the girl... she was one of the first 4 stars I got, and now I can't even remember her name. I think she's from Madoka Magica. She's the black one.
Oh, Kirika.
Yeah, Kirika. Okay, so there's 3 types of attacks. There's a charge, accelerate. It just says excel, so I just think of it as excel.
Yeah.
And then there's blast. So each girl has at least one of those, as at least the girls that I've got so far.
Yes, that is correct. All girls have to have at least one of each.
Yeah, and then the last 2 slots in their deck, I guess is what you can call it, could be any of the other ones. So Kirika, I think, has 3 blast discs, so she's really good for when I'm, like, grinding. Like, I'm just redoing chapters to get through my AP, because I want to use it up before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So I just put it on auto. There's an auto option.
Oh god, that's like the godsend of this game. Yeah, that and the pity counter, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, so blast is like an AoE attack, basically. So she's good at just wiping out all of the enemies very quickly, because she can just do AoEs. And then charge is like a weak attack that makes your next attack stronger, and you can do it multiple times to let it build up. Mm-hmm. And then excel is just your strong attack.
Yeah, it's your strong attack, and also it builds up your MP gauge, which when you build it up to 100, you can do your limit break, basically, your Magia attack.
Oh, it's so cool.
I know.
I love that they... So for example, Mami's Magia attack is Tiro Finale.
Yes.
Which makes total sense. Yeah. But they also... All the other girls have attacks too. So for example... Madoka's is the thing she does at the end of the anime where she shoots the arrow and that design appears in the sky.
Mm-hmm. And then
I love that
rains down pink arrows on everyone.
Yeah. It's called Pluvia Magica, and it's got a little star in between the two letters. So I love that I kind of super love that all these girls have limit breaks and with cool names for them.
Yeah. And I like that that Glasses Homura... hers is time stop special, and she does the whole, like, fire off a bunch of Uzis and then throw a handful of grenades at the opponent.
Hers is pretty great. And I don't know if you can speak Japanese at all, but
a little bit,
there's all the voices in the game are still in Japanese, so there's a lot of voice clips during battles, too. And some of the stuff, it's great for, like, reinforcing all the girls' personalities. And I think for Glasses Homura, one of the things she says is, I'm sorry, or something. Like, oh, I'm sorry, but here I go. Yeah. I'm gonna throw bombs at you now. It's really cute. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the reason I think this is kind of more meaty than I think some people might give it credit for is the customization and the connect feature.
Yes.
So the way it works is, so each round you'll get an option of 5 discs, and they're randomly selected from the decks of the girls on your team. So if you have 3 magical girls on your team, they each have 5 discs each, so that's 15 total, and then the game will select 5 from that 15.
Right.
And then those are the attacks you could potentially use.
So that's
some rounds.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was about to say. So that's the luck factor of the game. Sometimes you can just get screwed over by your discs, but for the most part, you should be able to figure out something optimal you can do with just about any spread you get.
Yeah, and usually, typically, I think the most optimal thing to do is to charge first, and then excel or blast, because the second and third discs get bonuses.
But I would have to argue with that, but we'll get to that.
Oh, really? You don't think so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to get to that later.
Yeah, get to that later.
We got to get to that. Yeah. See, you're going to teach me things about this game. You're going to share your wisdom with me. I feel like Usagi in that episode where Mercury gets introduced, where she's like, she's going to help me know all the answers on the test.
Or if we're talking the Magia Record characters specifically, it could be like a Yachio and Tsuruno thing, like Master Yachio.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't wait until we get to the characters. But let's just so it selects 5 randomly. And then, the girls have these little, like, pips that you get up to 3 pips each time you pick. Like, I play board games. I don't know what else to call it, but okay. If once a girl does 3 attacks, over the course of each round, so if you do 3 of the same girl in the first round, then her pips will be full the next round, basically, or 1, 1, 1, and then in the 4th round it'll be full. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? She can do this thing called connect, where you can use her disc. You can have another magical girl use that character's disc. So let's say you want Madoka to do a charge, but her charge didn't come up. But Homura's charge did come up, and she has all 3 pips charged up. You can drag her disc over to Madoka, and she'll use that charge disc. And when you do that, the magical girl, it's called connect, and the magical girl who has their pips filled up, like, casts, like, benefits onto the character that used her disc.
Right. It's basically saying, like, here, use my power for a little bit.
Yeah. And that, I think, is where a lot of the strategy comes in, because every magical girl has something useful that they can do with Connect.
Yeah, some more useful than others, but still.
Some way more useful than others. Generally speaking, the 4-star girls have way more useful Connect powers.
Yeah, but even like the lower rarity girls, you can use them in certain situations to great effect.
Yeah. So, and then each girl's Magia attack also tends to have a special effect,
right?
Too.
Assuming you don't just wipe out the whole field with your Magia.
Yeah, exactly. Well, some of them convey benefits on your team. So, for example, the very rare 4-star Madoka that I managed to get a few weeks ago and I was super happy about.
Woo!
When she does her Magia, she heals the entire party, and then she adds 25 to everybody's Magia bar.
It's so useful.
So, it's so overpowered.
Yeah, like...
but, I'm gonna use it. Since I have her, I'm gonna use it. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
It's extremely good. Like, it's a very good bonus.
Yeah, and like probably one of the best ones that I've got on my team is I have a 4-star Konoha who also grants healing and also grants increased Excel MP gain. So if you give her Connect to somebody or use her Magia and they use an Excel afterwards, they get a lot more MP from that.
And then you can, like, chain together combos, or, like if
and an attack buff, I forgot.
Yeah, you can, get through the more difficult episodes by using some strategy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all about which magical girls you're lucky enough to get,
Yeah, like, it helps to get stronger girls, but the good thing, actually, is the system allows for you to use one magical girl from your friends as well. So even if maybe, say, you don't have a strong 4-star or 5-star, maybe your friend does, and you can use theirs to get through the hard challenge.
Yeah, one slot in your 5-member team is usually, not always, but almost always a support, quote-unquote, character, which is like the social element of the game, basically, where you can use another person's magical girl on your team. So I always scroll through to find the level 80 Madoka.
Yes.
That might be there.
Yeah, no, that's a common support that I use as well. I'm using it a lot, especially in the current special training event, because a lot of the enemies are weak to Madoka.
Yeah, they are, actually. This is reminding me that I need to do my mirrors.
Well, not necessarily mirrors even, but yeah. Yeah, we can't talk about that.
Anyway, that's basically how the battle system works. You fight familiars in witch labyrinths, and there are boss battles, which are witches themselves. And there's also something story related, a different kind of enemy that comes into the story. They also are basically just familiars and witches as far as the gameplay is concerned.
Right.
And I think it's fun and really interesting. And I can tolerate a gacha when the gameplay is really fun and really good. If it's fun and engaging, I can deal with it. As much as I love Madoka Magica, if this game was boring, I wouldn't be playing
it. No, not at all.
No, not at all. I just couldn't. So yeah, I feel like I'm doing way too much talking. So, like, how do you feel about the battle system?
I think it seems a little complicated to start when you first jump into it, but it's overall fairly simple once you get the hang of it. And it's certainly simpler than a lot of, like, I don't know, like a full console game RPG system, I feel like. Yeah. But I think that's kind of what I like about it, too. It's not overwhelming, like, compared to something like, say, I don't know, like The Witcher or something like that has, like, a million different mapped commands and whatnot that you could possibly do.
A million moving parts.
Yeah. But I kind of like the simplicity to it. It's simple enough that you can, like, get into it pretty quickly, but not so simple that it becomes boring. Like you said, there's the connects that can keep things interesting. There's all the different magia. There's different types of different girls that you can balance with each other to build your teams. Especially, I feel like the meta is interesting if you do get into the meta at all. And that's not necessarily just the mirrors PvP stuff either. There's also meta for the, like, story missions as well that people tend to consider.
Yeah, and so why don't we talk about some of the story now?
That would be good, because the story's pretty good.
Yeah, the story is honestly pretty good. Well, some of it is hit and miss. So
yeah.
So why don't you tell us about the story type in the game?
Sure. So of course you have the main story, the one that's supposed to draw you into the game. It's the storyline that's fully voice acted. It's where all the primary story events happen. That's what that is.
I'm assuming that's what's being adapted into an anime.
Yes, I would assume so too. I would be very surprised if they dipped very deeply into any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Although apparently there is going to be at least one new character in the anime, so I don't know how that's going to factor in.
You need that lateral integration.
Yeah.
You always got to add a new character. You need your Mari Makinami and your Nagisas.
Because otherwise, like, you could just, like, get the story from the original and not miss anything.
Yeah.
But in addition to the main story, there's also something called Another Story, which is basically a parallel story that focuses on the girls from the original TV series. The main story features mainly a new cast. So if you want the original girls, you would play Another Story.
Do you know if that ever crosses over with the main story?
Sort of. The canonicity to the TV series of this whole game is fairly questionable. Most people tend to assume that it's off in its own alternate universe, but that the TV series still informs the story of it.
Yeah, because the Homura that we see in the story, for the most part, I mean, I'm guessing that the Homura from the TV series that we know eventually gets added to the game, but the only Homura that's in the English version of the game right now is Glass's Homura.
Right.
From, when she hadn't had her soul crushed by seeing horrible things for 30 years.
And without spoiling anything, I can confirm that the story does eventually go off in directions that would not be possible in the original TV series.
Oh, interesting.
So, but it does start from more or less the same place. Like, the prologue of the story starts with the scene from episode 10 where Homura and Madoka and Mami are fighting against Patricia, which is the witch with, like, the schoolgirl outfit and all the desks coming out of her skirt. And, like, yeah. So it starts with that scene, but then quickly diverges when Homura has a vision of this new character that never appeared in the TV series.
Right.
And is drawn into the story of the game from there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's the main story, there's Another Story. The two sort of happen in parallel. Another Story is kind of like the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to the main story's Hamlet. Just less comedic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are the magical girl stories?
Yes, those are the character side stories, more or less.
When you get a certain magical girl in a pull, and you add her to your rank, your listed...
Your roster, I guess.
Collection, your roster, I guess. As you use them in battle, they have something called an episode gauge that will slowly increase, that's separate from, like, experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it unlocks these little side stories as you keep using them.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are not great. I find myself sometimes just clicking through them, especially if it's like a girl I don't particularly find interesting.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't read many of them yet, mainly because there's usually more important things to be doing than reading those.
Yeah, there's so many events and stuff. Although they're great for getting the daily quests to do a certain number of episodes.
Mm-hmm. They're also one of the only places you can reliably get Magia chips, which are like a pain in the ass to gather.
Yeah, exactly. But some of them are pretty good. For the most part, they help explain how each girl became a magical girl.
Mm-hmm.
And you can unlock new costumes and upgrade, like you get a nicer picture when you upgrade the girls, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of if you have a favorite magical girl, there's going to be a short little 2 or 3 chapter, or actually longer because of the unlocks. So I guess actually not just 2 or 3 chapters, like...
Yeah, it's like chapters with like 3 different sections per chapter.
Yeah. And then there are events, which are usually have some kind of story element to them.
Mm-hmm. And thankfully, it seems like the events themselves are quite varied so far in terms of like how you play them. And the stories even sometimes have a different style. Like one of the most recent ones had a story that switched back and forth between present and flashbacks, and it was a little non-linear. And one of the ones before that was like a branching pseudo choose your own adventure style thing.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about the one with the 3 girls from the orphanage?
Yes.
I do not like those girls.
Oh no!
That was one where I was like tapping through the story as hard as I could.
Oh no.
I think I just find the eye patch girl very irritating.
That's fair. Well, I have mixed feelings on her because I like her in the story, but I don't like playing with her because her voice is annoying.
Her voice is annoying and her design is just bad.
Yeah, her design is also bad.
It's bad. The other two are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have mixed feelings because, again, I have Konoha, who is, like, one of the lead girls from that story.
Yeah. Sorry to diss your girl there.
No, but I also have mixed feelings because she, like, does some weird things that can't really be justified in character towards the end of the story, and it's frustrating. Anyway, let's get out of the weeds on this.
Yeah. And then there is a PvP mode, which is called Mirrors, and it has its own little story to like give story justification for why there's a PvP mode.
Yeah, and it's basically like, oh, there's a mysterious mirror witch that can create copies of all the other magical girls, so you don't have to feel bad about fighting the other magical girls
because it's not really them.
It's just copies. It's fine.
It's fine. Hey, isn't this Madoka Magica? What's going on here? You really couldn't think of something where I just get to slaughter little girls?
No,
don't you?
Honestly,
isn't that what your audience is here for? Again,
that's what some people are here for, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story for the PvP mode is fairly slight. Like, it even gets a little comedic the further in you get.
Yeah, it's just kind of okay.
Yeah.
I tend to tap through some of that stuff too.
Same. Honestly, I think the best part of the PvP story is the introduction of the character of Ria Ami, who is not a magical girl you can play yet, but I want her to be very badly now.
Is that the blonde girl with the pigtail?
Yes, she's basically like, she's the Nanami Kiryu of this universe.
She's amazing, and for a little while, I didn't understand the difference between her and the supermodel magical girl with like the little devil. Oh
tail. Yeah,
I thought they were the same girl, and then I was like, I think I was just upgrading my girls one day, and I was like, hey, hold on a second, that's not her. But she's pretty amazing. I love her.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, was there anything else that we haven't covered yet about just, like, the game generally?
I think we haven't really talked about the meta scene yet. We can talk about that now, or we can save it after we talk about the story in more depth.
No, go for it. I'd love to hear about that.
Anyways, so let's go back to what you said earlier about what you think the most optimal combo is.
Yeah, let's hear it. So, give me your wisdom.
Honestly, both there's the two metas, there's PvP and there's PvE, which is player versus environment. And both of those metas tend to favor blast discs over anything else. Excel is considered the next most useful, and charge is generally looked down on as not useful at all.
Okay.
Obviously, blast is useful just because it hits multiple enemies, so that means more overall damage to the enemy team. Excel deals more damage per enemy, but only hits a single enemy, but it raises your MP, so that's the trade-off. And charge is mainly disliked, 1, because it's a weak attack, and 2, because charge damage is actually nerfed in mirrors. Like, you don't get as much from charge damage when you play mirrors.
Okay, so the reason charge is bad is because it's secretly, like, doesn't charge very much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's still useful-ish in PvE, but even there's generally more you can do with Excel and Blast in terms of damage output. I have seen some amazing things done with charge in terms of, like, getting a really big combo going, but that's hard to do consistently. So, again, that can be a little harder to strategize around.
Right. Okay, I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, so generally the most, like, if you can't get, like, a 3-disc combo or a Puella combo, generally the most useful order to put the discs in is Excel, Charge, Blast, because Excel will make sure that all 3 of your discs gain MP, then Charge will charge, and then your Blast will be last and will get the most damage.
Oh! Okay, then in that case, you are completely correct.
Yeah,
I had no idea how to get the thing come up where it says all discs increase MP.
Yes,
I thought that was random. I had no idea that's why it did that.
Yes, that's a thing about Excel discs. If you have an Excel disc played first, that's what gives you MP for all your other discs. Oh my god,
you're blowing my mind right now.
And they also have other effects depending on the position, like if you put them in the second and third position, you'll get more MP from each Excel disc. And for blast discs, if you play them second and third, you get a higher damage multiplier, that kind of thing. And again, charge is not liked because it doesn't really have any extra effects like that.
Well, yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Like, well, charge doesn't have extra effects, so if I have to pick a charge, I'll put that first. But, like, I just didn't know that Excel did that. So now it's like, that makes way more sense to just pretty much always put Excel disc first.
But yeah, sometimes you have to force other combos depending on what works best. Like if you need to get a Puella combo, but you can only pull like a blast disc over, then you can work out what would be the most optimal knowing all those things.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's a little bit more I could go into. Also, both of the meta scenes tend to favor girls who can do one thing really well, as opposed to girls who can do a lot of things sort of well. So that's your glass cannons, your tanks, and your supports.
And that's like, I feel like that's generally, because I'm also really interested in competitive Pokemon, and it's the same thing in Pokemon.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, well-rounded Pokemon are bad for competitive play.
Yeah. Although thankfully there is still room for the balanced types to shine if you manage them right. It's especially easier if you manage to get more Memoria slots and can get their stats up, or like get them special abilities that can help one of their things shine over another thing.
Yeah.
So it's a little flexible that way.
I don't think we talked about Memoria, did we?
We did not, unfortunately. That is one thing we missed.
Yeah, real quick, Memoria is something that can come up in polls that aren't magical girls. It's basically it's a special kind of JPEG that you can get from polls, where it's like the girls doing something. It's like a little scene with them.
Yeah, like the official story thing calls them like the crystallized memories of magical girls.
Yeah. And basically each girl starts with one slot, so and you can unlock up to 4 slots. And when you equip a Memoria, it gives you a bonus to your stats, and it either has like what's the word I'm looking for?
There's a passive effect or an active effect.
Passive, yeah. So it either gives you a little ability that you can do in battle, or it has a passive effect. So yeah. So as you were saying, like if you unlock lots of Memoria slots, you can kind of make a well-rounded character into a better character.
Right, and that's why certain girls like Ayame, who's the girl we were complaining about earlier, are sometimes still valued because she was available from an event, and all of the materials necessary to get her fully maxed out and open to 4 slots were available, which makes her stronger than she otherwise would be.
Yeah. I'm sad that the Kazumi event ended so quickly, because I was on my way to getting the white nun girl.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to call her. She was a water type magic girl. Yeah. It was the same thing. Like all this stuff you needed to get her up was there.
Oh yeah, that was so useful.
Yeah, so good. Because otherwise, it's a pain in the ass collecting all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm only just now getting like some of my like high rarity girls up to their max Magia, max, not necessarily max Memoria even, because that requires you to pull duplicates or whatever.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's way too many types of currency and items in this game. That's a complaint I'll make. And it's hard to get all of them.
I will also make. Yeah. Anyway, please continue telling us about the meta.
So yes, anyway. So Memoria are obviously highly valued. There's certain Memoria that people really highly value. Probably the strongest Memoria in the game right now is called I Made Friends, which was also available from that like 3 Azalea House girl event.
Yeah.
So I Made Friends is a passive Memoria, which grants you increased critical hit chance and increased attack, which is really scary in combination.
Yeah.
So that's used very commonly in mirrors, and it can mess up your whole day.
I think I got that one.
That's very good if you did, because a lot of people tried to get it and didn't.
Is that the one that you could buy from the store?
No.
Then I don't think I got that.
It's the 4-star gacha one.
Oh, no, yeah, I did not get that one then. Darn it.
But one of the other commonly used ones is ones that are more commonly available, and that's Memoria that have the evade skill on them. So there's a couple of different 2-star Memorias that will let you randomly evade some attacks, which effectively reduces the damage to 0.
Yeah, like, so, for example, Glasses Homura, her connect gives another character evade.
Yes, and that's extremely
incredibly useful. So if a healing character doesn't have their connect ready to heal them, you can just use Homura's to keep them alive for an extra turn.
Yeah.
Etc., etc., yeah.
And I think a good thing that's going on right now is Tsuruno's just been uncapped to 5 stars, and once she reaches 5 stars, her, I think, Magia grants herself evade after she uses it.
Oh, wow.
So good. That can be actually really... There's a strategy that the fandom likes to refer to as the Magia cheese strategy, which is where you take a single girl into mirrors that has high MP gain and Magia-focused skills, and just use her. If you can get her to get off one Magia, she can just keep recharging her own Magia and spam the other team into oblivion.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, like, Tsuruno is the first character who can do that on the English server, and once Oriko is uncapped to 5 stars, she'll be able to do that too.
Oh my god. Well, I do have Oriko. It would be worth it to level her up because her default JPEG is horrifying. Her face is so creepy in that picture.
Yeah, well, to be fair, all of the Oriko girls have that problem.
I know, yeah. Yeah, I haven't read that manga yet, but that's one of the things that has kept me from actually reading it.
Just looking at any image from it, though, it's like, oh god, this is like...
Oh god.
This is like some bad DigiCarrot shit.
Yeah, this is like... This is art straight out of 90s doujinshi. Mm-hmm. This is some bad artwork. Anyway.
Anyway, I think there's one other thing I wanted to cover, and that's you had mentioned earlier that certain girls can have 3 of one type of disc, and that can be very good. The fan community has a special term for these girls. They're called gorillas. So a girl with 3 Excel discs would be an Excel gorilla, 3 charge discs would be a charge gorilla, and 3 blast discs would be a blast gorilla.
Yeah.
So
wow. So Kirika is a blast gorilla.
Yes, and
I'm sure she'd love being called that.
Yeah. And of course, blast gorillas tend to be like the most highly valued type of girl in the game.
Right, because they can just nuke everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of this, it kind of makes the meta scene lean a lot towards the water type, the aqua type girls, because there are a couple commonly available girls like Yachio and Nanaka and Asuka who are blast gorillas and commonly available and are water type.
And they're just easy to exploit.
And they're just, they're easy to get, they're easy to max out. And especially... Yeah. I think especially Nanaka is really powerful because eventually she's going to get uncapped to 5 stars and she's going to be a beast.
Ooh, all right.
Because not only is she a blast gorilla, but her connect grants attack up and blast up.
Yeah. Which one is, I'm trying to remember her. Like I have little nicknames for all these girls because I usually don't remember their names.
Oh, she's the, do you know much about Lolita fashion and terminology?
Generally no, but you can try me anyway.
She's she's got like a kind of, what's the term? I won't use the specific term. It's like a Japanese style Lolita outfit in like magenta color. She has like a flower in her hair, and she uses like 2 katanas.
I don't think I have her yet. Or I don't know if I've even seen her yet.
Yeah, you might not have seen her if you haven't played the right, like, magical girl stories. She doesn't show up in the main story, really, yet that I've seen.
Oh, hold on. Now I want to Google her. Hold on.
She's my, spoiler, she's kind of my favorite. Partially because she's so useful and partially just because I dig her aesthetic.
All right, here we go. Oh, her! Yeah! I love her! She's adorable!
Yeah! And in her magical girl story, I actually quite enjoyed that because it details her masterminding the creation of her own magical girl team and plotting revenge against Kyubey.
I know, she's really cool. She's like a lawfully aligned conniver.
Yeah, she's lawful neutral or lawful evil for sure.
Yeah. She is very cool. I also really like her design, and if you have her, I'm very jealous.
Oh yes, I do hope you get her eventually. She is a 3-star, so it's not that unlikely to get her eventually.
Right.
So if you do get her, cherish her.
I see that she's also a blast gorilla.
Yes, she is a blast gorilla. She and Yachio and Asuka are all 3-star or 2-star aqua blast gorillas, and they're a common combination for that reason.
Okay. I gotta like take notes on this stuff here.
Especially, I think Yachio. I don't know why, but people don't really like Asuka as much. I think because her connect is less useful.
Asuka?
She's the like almost kind of samurai looking girl with bandages on her chest and like a big spear thing and a ponytail.
She's actually my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm kind of ashamed I didn't remember her name initially. I have her set as my favorite.
She likes to taunt, I think, is her connect, right?
Yeah, her connect is taunt. I just think she's cute as heck.
She is cute as heck.
I just like her. Yeah, she's so cute. I love like the more Japanese aesthetic to her costume, and it's just like I just really like her. I just think she's adorable. Oh. Although she does have gigantic boobs, so thanks for that.
And also, I'm a little like iffy on her as a character, just because like her comedic gag quirk is constantly saying "I'm gonna kill myself," which is in Japanese supposed to be like seppuku.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they should have left it as seppuku.
Yeah, they should have just used seppuku. Then it wouldn't be nearly so uncomfortable.
The amateur translator in me is extremely upset at these official translators for doing that.
Yeah, like for the most part. No, go ahead. You first.
The translation's good. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah.
That for the most part it's good? Yeah, I would agree with you totally. For the most part it's pretty good. There's a few, stock, it can't be helped lines in there that annoy the heck out of me.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the girls all have, their own voices and, character voices in quotes.
Yeah.
Like, when you're writing a story. Yeah. Like they each have good distinct personalities. Like all of that was brought over well in the translation.
And even like I've been impressed a lot of times by translation choices of what are clearly like either Japanese puns or word plays that wouldn't normally translate over, but they found a good English equivalent for them.
Yeah, although some of them, I feel like
some of them are just weird.
Some of them they just changed it, and the only one that comes to mind right now, and this I know from the voiced ones, and a lot of it is not voiced. So, but the one that's coming to mind right now is one of Mommy's battle quotes at the end. Is something in English, it's like, woo, that was close, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But in the spoken line, she says, oishikatta wa ne, which means, that was delicious. So that is not what they did not translate that directly at all. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I didn't even really notice that, and I know what that means.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, okay. The only thing I can think of is that it's some kind of pun, like you said, and they just didn't have a way to do it. So
but even if I can think of one off the top of my head. You could say like victory is sweet or victory is delicious or something like that.
Oh my god, victory is sweet. That's perfect. Hey, hire us. Translation team. We can do. I can totally do your job better than you. says the annoying amateur translator who doesn't know what she's talking about. Anyway,
but yeah, one of the more impressive ones I can think of was there was an event recently where there were like two girls who were going mountain climbing together, doing like a scavenger hunt along the way, and there was clearly like a wordplay based thing that they had to figure out near the end, and I don't know what it was in Japanese because it's not voiced. But it seems like the sort of thing that would be different in Japanese, and they would have had to figure a way around it that still made sense in English.
Yeah, that was another event I thought was super boring, and I just talked through the story.
Oh no, I thought they were super sweet.
I loved both of the girls. I was just like, I would love a story about these girls that's a little bit more interesting.
Rather than them just climbing a mountain, I guess.
Yeah, the hiker girl is adorable.
Yes. It's a shame she's a charged gorilla, I think.
Come on. That's
either a charged gorilla or she at least has 2 charge discs and that makes things harder.
I feel like if charge is that bad, I feel like you shouldn't even be using a magical girl that has 2 charge discs.
This has been my luck so far. My first 4-star was Momoko, and one of my more recent ones was Tsukuyo, both of whom are charged gorillas.
Oh, great. Good for you.
But I'm determined to love them anyway, because I will love all of my Magukas equally.
Me too. I love all of my girls
except
equally.
For the girls who are still level 1 I haven't raised yet.
Creeps me out. Yeah. Oriko is I actually did level up Oriko just because I needed another heal for something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's a tree heal.
Wait,
most of the Oriko's tree, isn't she? No, I'm thinking of Yuma.
Oh, Yuma. Yeah, the little cat girl.
Yuma. Yeah. Yeah, that she is freaking creepy as hell, too.
Oh god, yeah, I think I have her and I haven't raised her at all.
Yeah.
I have other healers I can use.
I think Yuma is also a healer, though. She might have been what I was thinking of when I thought of
Yeah,
that.
no, Oriko I think is more MP and Magia focused.
Yeah.
And Kirika is a tank.
Yeah, Kirika she was the first 4-star I got, and I was like, I have no idea who this is, but it looks cool. Now I kind of know her a little bit more, because I've been doing her episodes and stuff, but she's fun. I love her.
Yeah, and thankfully, it's good that you got her, because she is, like, top tier in mirrors, so if you ever want to play mirrors, she's real good for it.
Yeah! Alright, awesome. So I should probably prioritize her in terms of trying to level her up.
Yeah, like
with the ungodly amount of currencies in this game.
Yeah, like she is currently in the top tier of the English meta, and she's gonna be at the very least like first or like second tier in the long term as well.
Cool. All right, that makes me really happy. Although I'm looking at her right now, and I am horrified to see that she has 2 charge discs.
Oh, that's not the worst.
I know. I'm just because I was complaining about it earlier.
Oh yeah. I guess does she have like 2 blast, 2 charge, 1 excel then?
Yeah, I was wrong. She's not a gorilla. She has 2 blast, 2 charge, and 1 excel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the best it could be, but she does still have 2 blast, which is better than nothing.
Yeah.
You could have 2 excel and 2 charge.
Ugh. Or R.I.P. to any girls in here that have 2 excel and 2 charge.
Yeah, just anyone who has a single blast disc, R.I.P.
Yeah, now I'm like, I have my game open right now, because we're talking about it. It's making me want to play. So I'm looking at them now, like, who can I find who has terrible discs? Mommy has good discs.
Yeah, Mommy's alright. She has charge, but she has, like, some really good abilities and high attack.
And her connect is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, you can, like, that's another, like, cheesy strategy that a lot of people will use, is either using, like, double Mommy, or, like, Mommy and Kanoko, who also has, like, a similar connect ability.
Yeah, for our listeners who don't know what the hell we're talking about, the Mommy's connect, so that's the thing where you drag her disc to another girl and they can use a little bit of her power. It is attack up, grant bind, and grant burn?
Yes.
Okay. So bind makes the enemy so if you have bind and you hit an enemy, that enemy loses its next turn.
Yes. And
burn makes them take damage next turn. Too. For one turn they take damage at the beginning of the turn. Mm-hmm. So if you give her connect to somebody with a bunch of blast discs open, and then they just use their blast discs to hit every enemy on the screen, they basically lose their entire turn.
Exactly. It's nuts.
Amazing. It's amazing.
It's really only balanced by, like, the fact, again, that Mommy doesn't have, like, optimal discs, and her defense is kind of low, so that's the balancing factor. But otherwise, she's kind of broken. Oh.
Otherwise, I use her a lot, because she's just incredibly useful as, like, a support character.
Extremely so, yes.
Yeah. Oh, Kyoko's a blast gorilla.
Yeah, Kyoko is absolutely a top-tier girl.
Good. That would make Vanna very happy to hear.
Unfortunately, Glasses Homura is not top tier, but regular real Homura will come eventually, and she's much better.
Oh, okay, that's good. I love Glasses Homura so much.
She is very cute.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that she will be uncapped to 5 stars eventually, so everyone will essentially get a free 5-star.
Oh, awesome. That is amazing. Yeah, I'm saving up to get her Destiny gem.
Yeah.
With Magia chips. I'm 104. At a certain point, I decided that I should probably actually save up for that.
Yeah. This is what we mean, listeners, when we say that it's a pain in the ass to get a bunch of these currencies. It's
so many currencies. Okay, let's count them. How many currencies are there? There's Magia stones, which are the currency that you can buy.
Yes, that's the gacha currency, more or less.
Then
there's the curse chips, which are like the QB coins.
Yeah. Right now I'm drowning in those, but do they eventually become, like, extremely hard to get?
It's less that they're hard to get and more that they build up slowly, and there are certain things that you can do with them that require a lot of them. And mainly, unlocking a girl's doppel and awakening them to 5 stars is 1 million coins each.
Oh, we haven't talked about doppel yet, but I don't want
to spoil it. I don't want to say too much about doppel, because we'll talk about that more in the story.
Yeah, doppel is a special thing that a girl can do at 5-star rank.
Yeah, that's all for now, all we'll say is that it's more or less their ultimate attack.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So there's Magia stones, there's curse chips, there are support points, which you get for doing, for, like, picking your friends when you pick a support
they're your friend
character.
Points, basically.
Yeah. There are Magia chips, which are only used to buy Destiny gems. Destiny gems are what you need to rank up the girl.
Yeah, that's to open their
stars.
Memoria slots, yeah.
Yeah. They're mirror coins, which you get from doing PvP.
Yep, and the Mirror Coin shop has the most types of items available for sale, so Mirror Coins are useful for that. But it also takes forever to get Mirror Coins, is the thing.
Yeah.
That's a common theme with a lot of these currencies.
Yes, it is a gacha. So they do want you to get as invested as you possibly can in the game and spend money in it.
Mm-hmm.
Pick your gacha well.
Yeah.
Anyway, then there are currencies for events. So now we're at 6 currencies.
Yeah,
so
6
far.
major currencies.
Yeah, and events can have more than one currency.
Yep. Yeah, there's some that are used specifically to play the event battles. There's some that you can use to buy items from special limited time event shops. Some can be used for both. It's
yeah.
And that's not even getting into materials, which I don't even know if those count as a currency or just items. They're still things you have to collect.
I mean, they're kind of like a currency because you need them to do a thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess it's not technically a currency because they're things, you buy them with the other currencies, so I guess they're not really a currency, but it has the same issues of, like, so many things you need to collect.
Yeah, and that's Destiny gems as well.
Yeah, Destiny gems, same thing. The ones that open up Memoria slots.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Awakening materials I think are the most annoying because you can get some of them from event shops, that's great when you can, but for the most part you have to farm story quests for them, and they're random drops, so you're not always guaranteed to get them, and sometimes they're rarer at other times than others.
Yeah, some of them are absurdly expensive in the stores too.
Mm-hmm. Like
the rainbow orbs are 120.
Oh yeah, like don't even bother trying to get rainbow orbs from quests, just only buy those from events.
Yeah, but like every single 4-star girl needs like 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
At least from memory. So
I've gotten crazy. One random wild rainbow orb drop once since starting. That's it.
Oh my god, it's like winning the lottery.
It is.
So that's pretty much the game. Like, without talking about the story or anything, any of the new characters, that's pretty much Magia Record in a nutshell.
Yeah, like, do we even have room to talk about the story at this point?
I don't
even
know.
The first chapter.
I know, we managed to get a full episode of, like, just talking about the mechanics, which is cool.
This could be like an episode 0, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. Like a pre-show, like we did with the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll cover chapters 1 and 2 in the next episode that we do on Magia Record.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, and then I'll have time to actually replay it and take notes, which I did not have time to do today. Ha 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 ha. Clearly you
can tell that we're both very excited about the gameplay, and we were able to get a lot out of that, so I'm glad for that.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, like, I really legitimately enjoy playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I didn't find it fun, I would not be playing it. Like, I pick another gacha that I think is more fun to play. If I gotta have a gambling addiction to something, it needs to be something fun.
Yeah, and I also find it's good as a sort of passive thing to play as well. Like, it's kind of easier for me to play right now than Love Live, honestly, because Love Live is a rhythm game, and you can't exactly auto a rhythm game.
No, you have to focus. Like, I was playing Uchono Prince Sama. There's a gacha for that. Yeah. And I was playing it for a few months, and eventually, like, I stopped playing because I couldn't do it while I was at work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can play Magia Record at work.
Yeah, I would have to wait for breaks.
Open the app. Yeah, you would have to, and the songs are 2 minutes long or so. So I would have to be staring at my phone for like 2 solid minutes. Whereas I can do a round in a battle, and then my phone will eventually sleep, and then a few minutes later I'll remember and I'll turn it back on. And you can kind of get through it casually in short little bites.
Yeah, like I was able to nearly clear one of the event shops at one point because I could just have my phone open at work and tap it every now and then to keep the auto chain going.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I would highly recommend Magia Record with, of course, the asterisk that it is a gacha game.
Yes.
So, yeah.
The gigantic planet-sized asterisk. Yeah. Play with caution.
Exactly. So, yeah, I guess that'll sum up I guess we'll call this the Magia Record pre-show then.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for joining us, everyone. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Madoka Magicast. You can follow me on Twitter at Lambda Power. That's Lambda like the Greek letter, and then Power. And, I guess that I don't want to do too many more plugs. I have so many things I could plug if I really wanted to, but I'll just leave it at that.
That's okay. And again, you can also find me on Twitter at ErynCerise, ErynCerise, and you can find me on YouTube at the same name. Check out Maho Profile. That's my plug, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see you guys next time. The next episode might be another Magia Record episode. It might be our Q&A episode and our the first two movies. It really depends on how Yasha and Vanna are doing, so...
Yes, all the love to Yasha and Vanna. I hope things get better soon.
I know, I really do too. So if they need a little extra time and they don't have time to record an episode, then that's totally fine, because now we have Magia Record to talk about. So it's okay.
In the comforting arms of the gacha.
In the arms of the gacha. That is a good episode title. In the Arms of the Gacha is now this episode title.
Okay, then.
All right.
That's good.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.